Welcome to a Thursday edition of the Citadel of Hype podcast. I am joined here by a fantastic panel of men and one woman, Gemma. It's no ladies' night anymore. Gemma, welcome. Who do we have here today with us?
We've got me, of course. Secrets of the Citadel.
Yeah. Okay.
We have got David. We've got a special guest, somebody that a lot of people might not have seen, definitely not on this channel before. So I think we should start with David. Introduce yourself. What are you about? Why are you here?
Well, what's up, everybody? I'm David Grayson. I have the YouTube channel, The Walking David, and some of you might have seen some of my stuff. I do a lot of Game of Thrones impression videos, Walking Dead impression videos, and I've had like little small bit parts featured on a bunch of people's channels over the last couple of years, but I've kind of coasted under the radar. So I'm just here to be the impressions guy, pretty much.
So, David, do an impression for us while you're drinking essence. Let's start it. I'm going to start you off. Let's bathe you in fire.
Okay, which impression do you want?
You got to decide.
Jon Snow.
I can't. I shouldn't do it.
Jon Snow, embarrass Zach.
Who's him first? Then I'll do it.
Kind of need to introduce Zach first, do we not?
Do Littlefinger. Your Littlefinger. Littlefinger is amazing.
All right. Okay. To get closer.
People are saying Littlefinger. I mean, I'm seeing it.
Are they really? Oh, I can't see the chat.
Yeah.
What if I told you that Sansa Stark was alive and well, living in Winterfell? Sansa.
Well, everyone, that's The Walking David, and we have Jon Snow. Welcome.
Hey, everybody. What's going on? Obviously, we have the voices, I have the looks, so we're just going off of... we have a little bit of both.
You just have to get in sync, and then we'll be unstoppable.
He's trying to save himself here. He's really trying to save himself here.
Hey, really quick, Zach, just mouth the words "the North" really slow, and let me see if I can match up with your voice. Let's see.
All right, ready? 1,
No.
2,
oh, okay.
3.
Okay, let's do this. Go ahead.
We're doing it again. All right. I didn't know you were doing a 3 count.
Okay.
1,
1,
2, 3.
The North. Okay.
All right. We will solve this after. Time out, everyone. You guys are all timed out.
Sure.
We will solve this later towards the stream. Me and Gemma have an announcement, and today, actually, we're going to be doing a little bit of a different format. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be taking your questions and answers. But first, we are going to take some questions that we had from our patrons, Gemma. Yes, we are.
Yeah, no, I'm just looking for them.
Wow, Gemma's so unprofessional. Gemma, let's go with the first question. Let's ask the panel.
Okay, I've got a question for everybody really. From Phil Moon, one of my supporters on Patreon, and he said, "Hi Gemma, I hope you're good." I'm good, thank you, Phil Moon. Who do you think kills Ramsay in the books? Will King Stannis? I love that. Will King Stannis execute him after the Battle of Ice? I'd like to see Big Bucket Wool bury his axe into Ramsay's skull. So Ramsay dying on the show, in the books. How's that going to go down, guys? Kyle, do you want to start that one off?
I mean, I don't know if Stannis is going to get much farther in the books, honestly. I mean, a lot of people think that Stannis is going to take the Iron Throne. I know there's a huge Stannis following. I know some people are all about that, but I don't know if it's going to be Stannis. It's really hard for me to say. I think that Roose Bolton is definitely going to suffer the same fate. I think Ramsay's going to somehow usurp him and take that power from Roose, and then even though Roose is a lot smarter in the books than he was in the show, he's definitely.
I am Lord Bolton.
Wow, that was really bad.
Thank you.
Didn't wait for my 3 count.
Yeah. get the damn 3 count.
But I think that one of the Starks is a possibility. I think the convergence, the battle of the Bastards, Battle of Winterfell and Winds of Winter is going to happen a lot toward maybe towards the middle end of Winds of Winter. So I think it's going to be one of the Starks personally. David, what do you think?
Oh God, this is like totally a question for you guys. I think I'm going to go the comedic route, just a random Game of Thrones moment where he just dies. Like falling down the stairs, like on his way down to like, oh, Stannis is at the front gates, and he's just like, I'll be right there, and then he just, like, oh, and then just falls down the flight of stairs.
So you're saying that he is gonna essentially kill himself? Okay. Thank you, David. Jon Snow.
I don't even know what's going on in the books.
I don't either, but I didn't want to say that. So.
Oh yeah, I mean, it'll probably be, I'm just hoping that it's somebody that, if he's doing the same things as he's doing in the show, that everyone just gets tired of his shit and just turns on him,
So you think
nice.
You think it could be his own men? That's interesting.
Yeah.
We do have what we call kind of two like David and Zach. So David, the Walking David, and Jon Snow Zach is his real name. They are both sort of what we call unsullied. They're more into the show than into the books. Both me and Gemma have read the books, and we're both
That's
into the show.
not what we call them. We call them show plebs, and you know it.
Well, Gemma, that's much more rude of you to say.
I've got this one.
Out of the loop. We're like, yeah, we're just a couple of mudbloods. Wait, that's not the right.
And by the way, thank you, Otilla Angel. She says, let's help Kyle on his upcoming travels. Otilla, really, really appreciate that donation. Going to Worldcon in 10 days. I'll be in California. In 11 days, I'll be seeing George R. R. Martin in person.
I've got a few suggestions for you.
Yeah.
Firstly, if you think Ramsay is going to die, you haven't been paying attention, right? I mean, that's the assumption that he's going to die. So let's go with that assumption, because that's not necessarily the case. I mean, this is George R. R. Martin we're talking about. Yeah, if Stannis wins the Battle of Winterfell, then Ramsay's going to get burned alive. That's like a R'hllor kind of thing that's going to happen. Lady Dustin's men might kill him. Roose could even do it, although it would just be a massive deviation from character, but you never know. Theon, he could get his dogs. I mean, Theon's got, I was going to say it has a good relationship with the dogs, and then realised that probably sounded wrong. Theon's bonded with the dogs, so, and that could be a very similar way to the show. Jane Paul could be involved in the similar way that Sansa was in the show. For me, if I could write this, I would have Asha Greyjoy bury one of her husbands into his face. That would work for me quite nicely.
So we all agree that we want Ramsay to die, though. I mean, that's he's not a good person, right? I mean, let's just settle on that. Okay, we adjourned. We all want Ramsay to die. Okay, Gemma. I only had one question from Patreon from PJ, but we'll continue with yours, Gemma, and then we will get some questions in the chat as well.
Okay. Hang on. Let me find another one. Okay.
Okay.
Am I?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah,
I'm just trying to trick you.
This one's for Zach. From Helen Ledwith. How was San Diego Comic-Con? Was it weird without the show being there? Was it like you were representing the show on your own?
Yeah, we had to definitely bring it. Everyone was like, HBO isn't here, so I'm like, I'm bringing HBO here. Which was kind of nice. We just got to sit back and just bounce around and do our own thing at Comic-Con, and it was busy as hell, as it always is. It's like 100,000 people in an area. And it's like, it's an overwhelming route, or an overwhelming amount of people. And it just gets to, I mean, the thing was that I got to see was there was a lot of good Game of Thrones cosplay that still showed up. So it was nice. We even did a photo shoot, and there was a lot of different people. And there was even a few friends of mine who had never done Game of Thrones cosplay that had done. Somebody did a really good Brienne of Tarth, and she bought her own armor and then painted it, and it looks very show replicated. And
Nice.
she did really well. She actually got into a fight with the Hound, and they did like I took
Oh, kind of like what you did with the Littlefinger when you like pinned him against the wall. Like,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was cool. We got a lot of action. We got a lot of action shots. It was really nice to sit back and even sci-fi was actually really cool. Like apparently, I got to be a few of us got to be on the sci-fi like promos that they were doing for San Diego. So it was pretty cool.
That's sweet. San Diego Comic-Con is a dream of mine to attend that. I'm definitely going to be going next year, people. I don't know how I have to make it work, but we're going to Dragon Con, and we're hopeful that we do good enough coverage there that we do get invited or somehow get to San Diego Comic-Con next year. But I know that Zach knows all about con culture, and we keep on hearing good things about San Diego Comic-Con. And next year, I'm sure there might be something about the prequels maybe for Thrones. Because for Season 8, they didn't want to spoil too much. For the last season, and they didn't really have a lot to show. I mean, they were still filming and whatnot, and doing all of that.
Same with Marvel. There was a lot of uproar about Marvel not being there either.
But you know that's okay sometimes. But I mean, there was still an amazing amount of people that were representing Thrones there, like yourself, right?
Yeah, there were.
Yeah, and speaking of cons, I will be going to Worldcon. And going to see George R.R. Martin speak in person in 10 days in California. I got it on my wall of hype. And then I'll be going to Dragon Con, where there's expected to be 90,000 people there this year. So just a little bit below San Diego Comic-Con as far as attendance, but lots of Marvel people going, Star Wars, Hobbit, all of that. Gemma, do we have another question?
Yeah. Sorry, guys. This is another book kind of question, but I can go off on this one happily. This is from Embrace the Crone, and she has asked, how did an incompetent like Pycelle ingratiate himself at the Citadel to end up at King's Landing? A little Pycelle history, please.
Oh, I could do this for the show, but I can't do it for the book. I remember stuff that he said from the show extremely well.
Okay.
Oh my god, my neighbor sucks, you guys. Like, apparently he decided to.
Okay, David. We're gonna need you. Sorry, Gemma. Can you repeat the question? I can't hear anything anymore.
What? Just flat out gun deaf. Okay, right, Pycelle. Do you want me to go off on this, or does somebody else want to turn first? Because I've got so much to say about Pycelle.
Go for it.
Kyle, are you actually deaf?
Yeah, I'm actually deaf. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Right. Okay. For starters, it's an act. Okay, and we've seen this in the show. We've seen hints of this in the show, so we can start with the show. I don't know if anybody has seen that deleted scene with Tywin, Pycelle, Tywin's fishing, and then we've also seen things that weren't deleted where he gets up and then he sort of slumps back down into his bumbling idiot mode. Pycelle has been the Grand Maester for over 40 years, and Aegon V actually sent for him, asked the Citadel to send him somebody who was young and physically strong. So this is kind of how this started, because all of Aegon V's previous Grand Maesters kept dying because they were too old. So it's a complete facade. In the books, like if you go into his quarters, into his room, everything is absolutely on point. His shelving, all the potions, all the bottles, all of his notes, everything. They are so organized and neat. There's a very good chance that Pycelle is literally the smartest maester that the Citadel has ever produced. And just bear with me here, because he has stayed in this inner circle of Westeros for over 40 years under 6 different kings, and that's including Joffrey and Tommen. He knew that Jon Arryn had been poisoned. He could have saved him, and he chose not to. He was the one that convinced Aerys II to open the gates of King's Landing, which resulted in the sack of King's Landing and the downfall of the entire Targaryen dynasty. So he literally made and destroyed kings. Now, and this comes back to the show again, because we've seen this in the show and then obviously heavier in the books. When Tyrion in season 2 is weeding out the chaff, Janos Slint, we all know how that went down. But Pycelle somehow managed to come from the black cells to being on the small council again. I mean, that's no small feat to be able to do that. Everybody thinks he's a Lannister man, but he's not. He was Tywin's man. He undermined Cersei and Tyrion. He was so dangerous, and I'm nearly done, I promise. Pycelle was so dangerous that Varys knew he had to go. And that says everything as far as I'm concerned. Varys knew that he had to kill him. Basically, Pycelle played the Game of Thrones for 40 years. Eventually he lost, because you win or you die. But 40 years, comparatively speaking, to like Ned and all the other players in this great game, he had a pretty good run, right? So I'm just not buying it. And I'm done with Pycelle. You guys can take over now.
We did open up a lot. It was kind of cool to see how he kind of played the part of, oh, I don't know what I don't, but like behind the scenes, like you've kind of opened me up to being like, oh, that's interesting that he did know what was going on. He did play he did just play dumb the entire time, and that kind of gets you far. 40 years far, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, look at real life politics. We have plenty of politicians that do that, right?
Just play dumb.
Kyle, are you still alive?
I am still alive. Sorry, I was just replying to something. Maester Pycelle is just like, he's like 90% aware. I mean, like, people are like, yeah, he's so daft. But Pycelle, I mean, he knew, like, he's like 90% not daft. Okay, he his little charade, like he knew what's up, and he knew how to manipulate people into thinking that he was like some incompetent fool old man. And we obviously saw in the show he's like all spry getting up after he was like laying with Roz. I mean, I would feel like that probably after. I mean, just saying. But Pycelle's a little rat, and he ended up butting to dust. Obviously, Qyburn kind of got him, but yeah, man, damn. I think Pycelle is a hilarious character. I don't like him as a person, but I think he's funny.
In between, sorry, I know I haven't spoken in like 10 minutes, but in between this drilling that's going on, did any of you guys happen to see that deleted scene from the show with Pycelle talking to Tom about fishing? Was that, do you think, Gemma, that was like kind of an homage to the book?
Yeah.
Like something, because that's what it sounded like. When you were saying this stuff, I'm like, this is exactly from that scene.
Yeah, like, they do that a lot. There's a lot of nods. I think they're aware of the things that they're not able to fit in, so they tend to put in these little nods that only book readers would really fully understand, like the symbolism with the Hound and the Gravedigger in season 7, which was gorgeous. Non-book readers are just like, oh, that was quite cinematography. It was quite pleasant to look at, but all of the book readers were freaking out at that scene, weren't we, Kyle?
I mean, we obviously all wanted more of that. You can't include everything you get from the books into the show, but it is something that was like, wow. I was like, okay, that is something that I was really looking forward to. We knew when we got Brother Ray, we knew that we were quite getting what we wanted on the Quiet Isle of the Hound. It was a different iteration of what was going on. Like I said, they can't exactly do what's in the books in the show. If they did exactly the amount of content that was in the books into the show, there would be like 13 seasons at least.
Yeah,
I mean, it would be unwatchable. Not unwatchable, but you know what I mean.
Mackenzie Burns.
Grave digging.
Mackenzie Burns in the chat has asked if Pycelle has the same death in the show and books. Qyburn obviously got Varys' ex-little birds in the show, but in the books it was Varys. Pycelle was essentially in charge of the small council. He was the one that offered the regency to Kevan Lannister, and Varys knew that Pycelle was a threat. So in the show it was kind of Varys by proxy because it was his little birds that did it, but in the books it was definitely Varys.
Guys, do you want to take a stab at this one? We want to continue?
I pretty much just answered it, didn't I?
Yeah. Okay. I just want to make sure that everyone.
I'm a fucking expert at this, so I think.
I think we need some impressions.
Yeah. And by the way, Mama Ogre did make a donation. We didn't forget that. Thank you so much, Mama Ogre, for that. Continue.
Queen in the North. Doesn't have the same ring to it. But oh god. Let me ask you. This I mean, how did Pycelle meet his demise, or has he met his demise in the books?
Yeah.
Okay, so was it in a similar fashion to the way that
kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
Got him?
But Varys.
It was definitely Varys, yeah. Qyburn was not.
Okay.
No, it was Varys.
Okay, with Qyburn, then would that mean that in the books that Qyburn and Varys are working together, or is that
no?
No. Okay.
No, Qyburn's a black fire. No, Varys is a black fire, and Qyburn is kind of with Cersei, kind of.
He's just more into the undead.
Well, I mean, there's Aegon in the books, and Varys claims to be aligned with him, and Aegon really isn't a Targaryen. Most people have hypothesized that Aegon is a Blackfire,
and that Varys is also it's very complicated. You start going down the Blackfire, young Griff, Varys route, and things get rather complicated, especially for show readers, because like literally none of that is in the show at all. But like huge storylines, character arcs, all sorts, just not even a part. I think we should get David to give Zach a lesson in how to speak with a Jon Snow accent.
Yeah, let's do that right now.
Let's do that.
Sure.
Okay, so Zach, really quick, just to see where we're starting out, I want to hear your best version, as you see it, of Jon Snow. Like, let's just hear you say the North. Just
okay. The North.
That's good. I like that. That wasn't bad. Now say the Glovers, the Umbers, the Carstocks. Try saying that.
Give me the three of them again. It's kind of lagging.
The Glovers. Glovers.
The Glovers.
The Umbers.
The Umbers.
Carstock.
The Carstock.
Okay, so like, let's try Umbers really quick. The biggest key to, I think, any impression is finding one or two words that a character says that really helps you get how they pronounce things. You know what I mean? It's sort of like
that line that the line that speaks out to me is when Melisandre, he's like, "Don't bring me back."
Yeah.
He goes, "Well, I do with the Lord of Light," and he goes, "What kind of god would do something like that?" And I had that. Like that was the one that was
well, and so you have
my interpretation.
Yeah, I mean that's smart. It's your mouth position is a big factor in it. Like when I do Littlefinger, I'm literally talking out of one side of my mouth. You know.
Okay.
So just like with any accent that I've ever attempted doing as an impression, you find one word or one phrase that really kind of has all the little subtleties of that whole accent. So like everybody can do this, not just Zach.
I can't do this.
No, you can't. You can't. Listen to it. If you're trying to do Irish, you say the word authorities. All right, now here's what it is. Authorities. All right, so if you say authorities, then you can almost imagine how the rest of it is supposed to go. You know what I mean?
Okay.
You went to the authorities instead of coming to me first. You know what I mean? And you can... Same thing goes with Jon Snow. So when he says Carstocks, like he has that kind of cadence of up, down, up, down.
Yeah.
So Umbers, Carstocks. You know, he also you'll especially notice it in this last season. Anytime he ever fucking mentions Dragonglass, he sounds like he's winded every time he says it, he goes, "We need this dragon glass, my lord."
Dragon glass, my lord. It's like
Dragon glass, you know, like he's about to sneeze, like, "We need this dragon glass, my lord." You know, like, and I don't know why, but it's every time he says it. He just, "We need to mine it and turn it into weapons." You know, like, and
it's like this like long-winded thing, right?
Yeah, it's like
he does a whole thing.
I don't know, guys. I don't know what I was doing. Gemma, take over the podcast.
Well, to me, a lot of what he says for Jon Snow is he elongates what is it? Your like A, E, I, O, and U. You know, he elongates all of those.
The vowels.
Yeah, the vowels. So he elongates his vowels. So the North, imagine it has 4 O's.
Yeah, the North.
Yeah. The North, or then you can say the Nort if you want, and then just have the accent. The North.
Somebody just commented "Cool Whip."
Cool Whip. Yeah, that's, I mean, kind of. It's that same kind of philosophy of you get that one little thing down. Cool Whip.
Yeah.
And,
Cool Whip.
Cool whip. Cool.
No, say cool.
Yep.
Cool.
Whip.
like, it's easier with characters. Like, John's a little bit tricky to do. I think he really is, because we were talking about this before we even got on, is that they're trying to make him sound half like Lyanna Stark, who they already had in mind, and they're also trying to make him sound half like Sean Bean, because, you know, he was raised by him.
He was raised by Sean Bean, yeah.
Yeah, so...
Well, Ned Stark, but...
yeah, well, you were saying this, Gemma, that it was kind of like a Cockney, but almost like it's like a dirty Cockney. Like it's like a mutt version of the accent.
Kit Harington's got a slight Cockney twang because he's from London originally, but Sean Bean's from Sheffield, which is about an hour above me. So although I don't have the accent, I do hear that specific accent all the time. Like pretty much everyone I know speaks like that, except for me, because my mother refused to allow me to speak like that, and I got a backhand every time I dropped my H.
Yeah,
see how she says H? She's like,
H.
I don't know. It's just like a Gemma thing.
But it's like how they say herbs. You know what I mean? We say herbs, they say herbs.
Oh, okay, herbs. Yeah.
Yeah.
Herbs.
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 Oh my god.
Umbers. Gosh.
Umbers.
Umbers.
Yeah. Ash Scott.
Wait. Let me do my umbers.
That's
No, that was
not bad.
terrible. That was terrible.
I love how your left eye squinted, like when you did it, like just one, just
Ash Scott in the chat's got a really great point. John's accent is hard because it's not a real accent. It's not even consistent. It's harsh. He's doing a below average Sean Bean impersonation. Ooh, that's a burn right there.
Here's a one that we have to get down. If Zach can get this is a great sentence to be able to say if you're doing your cosplay. So you gotta go, "I'm a bastard." You need to be able to go anytime somebody says something to you, like,
I'm a bastard.
how come you don't know the books very well, Zach? And you just go, "I'm a bastard." That'll save it almost any time.
Well, that was the funny thing at the photo shoot. They were like, "Okay, all the Starks up there," and I'm like, "I'm not a Stark."
I'm not a Stark. What would you know about being a bastard? But bastard, like, it's weird. I imagine it's like Bass Ted. Like,
Bastard.
yeah, bastard. You're not saying bastard or something like bastard. Bastard.
Bastard.
Bastard. I'm a bastard. And
I hope you guys in the chat are enjoying this because I'm loving this. This is great.
It's like a free vocal.
This stream has devolved into non-professionalism per usual.
Hey, it's semi-professional. I've done this for some money.
It's semi-professional.
but I'll take semi-pro. But like for me, imagine having to do this by yourself and having to record yourself a bunch of times and like watch yourself in the mirror of me just looking at myself going, bastard. I'm a bastard. 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 No, bastard. The North bastard. I'm not a Stark. Fucking bastard. You know, I'm saying this. I swear.
I think we might get demonetized, Kyle. I mean, I'm not 100%
Sorry,
sure.
this is sponsored by.
At this point, it's just like whatever. Really,
they can't. Well, then they're hypocrites. They're sponsoring Game of Thrones related shit, and they're saying you can't curse.
Donnie Locklear would like John, so I'm not sure who exactly
He's talking about Zach. He's talking about Zach.
to say battle.
Battlefield.
Battlefield.
I'm not good. You know, I'm done doing impressions because
Kyle. Here's what you need to do. Everybody, I'm gonna write this down phonetically.
As long as Kyle is underneath me, I'm good.
Whoa.
We're back to Boatsex.
See this. I don't know if you can read this. See right here?
Battlefield.
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 That's the way Gemma normally says it.
No, that's battlefield. It's not the same.
We make our allies on the battlefield.
Battlefield.
See, David does this so good, though. It's not like.
Well, you have to stare off into the middle distance.
But maybe
I'll never say it right here. I'll just go like battlefield.
But maybe we can make part of the stream answering some questions, not just phonetically trying to correctly pronunciate things.
Repeatedly.
Yeah, basically.
Someone, John Haymaker, I guess one of your fellow bannermen, is he says, "Can you say I killed a boy younger than Bram?" Yes. Yeah.
All right, let's get back to some questions.
No, it's not finished. It's not finished.
Okay.
I killed men I admire. I killed a boy younger than Bram.
That's good.
That is good.
It's really good, actually. I couldn't do that. I can do impressions of Gemma, but that's as far as it goes for me.
You can't. You really can't.
I'm going to teach you how to do at least one by the end of this.
What, an impression of me?
Yeah, sure.
All right, so we got a couple of questions, nonsense aside for a minute. Azor Ahype, Secrets of the Citadel. Scene storyline from the books you would have most liked to see in the show. Don't mention the D word.
Lady Stoneheart.
Me and Gemma both agree on this one, Lady Stoneheart. So that's pretty simple. Are we talking?
Do you know what?
The Kiss of Life of Beric,
really
like that one?
upset me is, do you know how many times they trolled us? At one point, the Hound quite literally pissed into the river that she was supposed to be resurrected from, and it's like they are really taking the piss now because they knew exactly what they were doing, and it was like they literally pissed all over that theory, literally. And that was one of those nods that was mean.
The fray beginning for season 7, I thought that was going to be an intro to Lady Stoneheart. And I was going to be like, are they doing this here? This is way late to be doing this. And then Arya took off her thing. And
you didn't kill
I thought the Brotherhood Without Banners was going to come in and start fucking everybody up. But I don't know. That was...
How cool would that be? Can you imagine if Lady Stoneheart just rocked up and, oh my god!
By the way, we just got a donation from Helen. It's probably to go towards some sort of voice acting lesson so I can do better impressions. Helen, we really appreciate it. All funny jokes aside, really thank you very much for the donation. I'm gonna go put Helen on the wall of hype while Gemma takes over. Next question we have, Gemma. We both agreed on Lady Stoneheart. We have another one from.
Zach and David haven't answered that one though. I mean, I know you're not hugely into the books, but you are aware of book storylines. Is the one that you've come across and just thought that sounds intriguing? I would have liked to have known more about that one. Go, Zach.
Barristan Semley for me. They apparently they killed him off, and even the actor that played him. He's still alive in the books and just rocking it, but apparently they dropped him off somewhere in Marine to get killed by the Harpies, and people were outraged.
Yeah. That was the worst for me. That is the one that I will never, ever forgive D&D for. Barristan the Bold deserved better. I need to see some emojis and hashtags in the chat on this one.
Did.
David.
And so, just to make sure I have the question right, I've since kind of forgotten. Is it a storyline that we wish they had done but they didn't, or is it just that's what it is? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, just something that I wish they had shown, like just in general.
Yeah.
Well, I honestly, they've mentioned it so many times in the show. I wish they would have shown it, sort of like they did the Tower of Joy with young Ned and everything. I wish they would have shown when like Thoros of Myr like ran in with his flaming sword, because they talk about
the Siege of Pyke.
Yeah, exactly. When he invaded Pyke, and he was just like, I was just really drunk and really had a piss, and I'm just like, I would have loved to have seen it, just to see it play out, just
like
because everybody mentions it all the time. And
so you were the bravest man I've ever seen. No, I'm just the drunkest.
Yeah, because Jorah was second through the breach, so that would have tied in. Yeah, but obviously it would have had to have been done in a flashback, because that was 10 years ago, 10 years ago, from the beginning. But the Siege of Pyke, that was when Theon ended up in Winterfell, wasn't it? Yeah. We could have had a lot of flashbacks, couldn't we?
I think some of them would have been fairly warranted. I think like to only start doing them with like the Tower of Joy is kind of an odd choice. It's not necessarily wrong or bad. I'm happy that we got to see that, but it would have been nice to also see like a young Robert Baratheon killing Rhaegar, or at least that. Like that story, when he first tells that story, he's just sitting in a room talking to Sir Barristan Selmy and Jaime Lannister. He's like, I brought my axe down on gods, I was strong then. I was like, that would have been great to see him, because everybody talked about how much of a great warrior he was. And to never have seen it is kind of frustrating. Because if we had seen it, we would have really had a different image.
This fat king that just whores himself out, and it's like, oh, this guy used to
be shit. Yeah, it was. I mean, he was great. I love Robert Baratheon. I think he's such an amazing character, brilliantly acted and written. I thought he was great.
Your mother was a whore with a false.
The whore is pregnant.
Lancel, get the breastplate stretcher.
See? Look at Kyle.
That's good.
I know. Okay, let me do my other one again. Your mother was a whore with a false.
Did you know that?
Did you know that?
I love
more wine. Get more wine. I don't know.
I love the part where he just goes, Lancel Lannister. God, what a stupid name. Who named you some half-wit with a stutter?
He's like despite his failings, he was so like Mark Addy, who played Robert Baratheon, just nailed Robert. Like the Robert memes are so prevalent everywhere too. Like the Robert Baratheon memes are like the most popular in Game of Thrones.
You have to do my favorite Robert Baratheon quote, and it's "Bow your shits." I love that one.
Yeah, you just.
People are sending me things that I'm distracted. We've got a lot of love for Barristan in the chat, and George Turner has asked if you're going to kick me out for the last 20 minutes, Kyle. I'm so sorry. Genuinely, I didn't know that if I booted you from the stream for being a dick, that you wouldn't be able to get back in again. I genuinely didn't know that would happen when I was ejecting you from my life.
Okay. I'm gonna let a little secret spill here. Me and Gemma had discussed me not being part of the second half of the stream. Booting me would be something funny, and then I literally could not get back into the stream. So Gemma was like, "Okay, let's do a 2-hour stream. Kyle will be part of the first half." I'm like, "Okay, I'll just go order a pizza. I'll stay in the chat or something. Just relax and watch everyone." But I could not get back. I was gonna pop in towards the end of do something funny, but it wouldn't even let me come
The
back.
most hilarious thing was that it was an all-girl panel, and when I kicked you out, George jumped straight in, and he was smack bang in the middle of us all, and he's just like, "Sup, ladies?"
I think what I was saying was just like something like Gemma loves beef or something like that.
Yeah, you deserve to be kicked out for that.
I deserve to be kicked out for that. So
Gemma and Kyle make a cute couple. Jerry, no. Oh, whoa.
Why does everyone do this?
I don't know why people do this.
Me and Gemma are like besties, okay? Gemma is married with children, people. Okay. My God. I don't. For fuck's sakes, honestly. Now this is really getting demonetized. Look what you've done, Jerry.
Kyle's all triggered now.
You can't kick me. This is my podcast on my channel, dude. Hannibal, not a good idea. But let's get back to more questions. Gemma, Donnie Locklear says. Sorry, go ahead.
More questions.
That was terrible. Donnie Locklear and Zach, you're cut off. Gemma, do you think that Cersei could die in childbirth and the baby could be the Valonqar?
Nope.
Yeah, that's as far as I'm going to go with it, too.
No, Jaime's the Valonqar.
Jaime Lannister, yeah. And a close sec. There's some. I mean, people who say Jon could be, Daenerys could be. There's all sorts of different scenarios. It's clearly Jaime. They've set that up so much that if they don't do that they're trolling us, especially George. Okay, so to answer your question, no. Jaime could lose the child though, for sure.
Well, Valonqar also means little brother, so it didn't say little child. It says little brother. So,
well, in High Valyrian, it's gender neutral.
Oh, so fuck off. Oh, my God. Yeah. His or her prince or princess that was promised may bring the dawn. But I don't want to split any hairs. It's like the fact that was brought up like in the 7th season and it was resolved by this. She's like, it's actually the prince or princess who brings the dawn. And then she goes, Tyrion says, it doesn't quite roll off the tongue, does it? And then she goes, no, but I like it better. And I'm like, is this like the SJW version of Game of Thrones? Like, it's just like, hey, not all Greyjoys. Like hashtag not all eunuchs.
I mean, in the show, Euron Greyjoy, there is a 0% chance that he's the Valonqar, okay? In the books, he's like a third act villain in the way that he is doing something that is so awful that he is, but he got a girl pregnant. He cut out her tongue and tied her to a prow of the ship. That's all you need to know. Okay, like that's just insidious stuff. But I get it. We don't have another book, and we're still waiting on season 8. So it is time to speculate on these things. So. I get it. I guess I get all of the different theories. And thank you to everyone who's joining us. I guess there's a raid from In Deep Geek Stream. There's a few people that are coming over, so thank you everyone that is joining us. But yeah, do you think guys? Final thoughts here. Anybody other than Jaime could kill Cersei? Are we all in agreement that Cersei's gonna bite the dust in season 8 and in the book?
I have my theory, and it's similar to yours. I believe that it's going to be Jaime to do it and kill Cersei, but then after she's dead, he'll pull off the mask and it's going to be Arya.
So, but how would Jaime have died though? That's really interesting. One theory that I do have is that they came into the world together, they go to the world together. We could see like a Romeo and Juliet type of situation where Cersei mortally wounds him or something, or the army of the dead has breached the walls of King's Landing, and Jaime could literally burn them all by lighting the rest of the wildfire, coming full circle, doing the exact thing he tried to prevent. And I think that would be an amazing moment. That's something that I've been kind of talking about for a while now. You can maybe see something like that happening, David, like Jaime getting mortally wounded, and then he's like, okay, I gotta sacrifice myself anyways, or do something to something heroic.
I think it could be. I think it might be not like it's not going to be a replica of the Mad King. I think hopefully they're too smart to do an exact like, here's what it looked like when he killed the Mad King, and we didn't see that, but we'll see this. You know, like, I think it could be kind of, this is such a weird example, but it is something similar in The Walking Dead in the comic books, where it's like a character was holding another character, and then they got an arrow and it went through both of them. And I could almost see Jaime, like if he was wounded and Cersei holding him, and then him holding on to her so she can't get away, and then somebody just killing them both at the same time, like in one stroke. And like, so he almost sort of like, not jumped on a grenade, so to speak, but kind of hugged the grenade and let someone else pull the pin. You know what I mean? I could see him doing something heroic like that. I do think that they'll go out probably the same time. Although I really do hope that Jaime kind of lives. His arc has been so... This is probably one of the best arcs on the entire show, as far as how his character has come from where he started. And I really, you know, romantic me wants him to live, but I know that's probably not going to happen.
Pipe dream, yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of people think he would make a great Lord Commander of the Night's Watch. And that's kind of like a theory that's been floated around by a bunch of different people. But I think Jaime has to die in order for him to get honor, essentially. You know what I mean?
Well, and that's the thing. I wish there was some kind of acknowledgement other than from Brienne of Tarth that he was an honorable person. You know what I mean? To where everybody along the way is just kind of like, yeah, you lack honor. You know, we've all seen the fan videos of the compilations of everybody dissing his honor, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And, you know, like, trusting honor from a Kingslayer is like building on quicksand. You know, like, that's the, you know, the Blackfish said that. Catelyn said that. Ned said that, you know.
I see Gemma with a little gleam in her eye. Uh-oh. You already said that Jaime's going to be the Valonqar, but, I mean, is that all you're going to add, or...
Tom Dan's in the chat.
God.
I'm just waiting for some savage burns. We all need to go buy some ice because Tom Dan's. The love that Tom Dan's got in the chats is crazy. You're up late, Dan. It's nearly 1.
He said he wasn't going to come to the chat.
I know.
And he's got a collector's item because the hashtag Sansa Forever t-shirts got copyright booted. So there was only a limit. That was a limited edition sale, and Talamasca Dan should be getting his soon in the mail. He thought he was getting a video game or something, but yeah, right, bud. You are getting Talamasca. You're getting Sansa hashtag Forever Sansa gear. Shall we take some more questions? Sorry, go ahead, Gemma.
Talamasca Dan would like to know who is the handsome new chap.
Zach, take it away.
He knows who Zach is.
Oh my God, this is a
talking
disaster.
About you, David.
Battle.
And by the way, while everyone is here, I want to make an announcement. Me and Gemma have a joint announcement to make. So we do a bonus podcast for our Citadel Ahype podcast. Today we're doing.
Are you?
Yeah, I'm carrying your twins. Boatsex.
Sansa and Sansa, right?
Yes, Sansa. But me and Gemma have an announcement. So me and Gemma do a bonus podcast. We've been kind of trying to figure out a format that pleases everyone and that fits our schedule. And we wanted to do something that is a little bit different. And so what we're going to do is all of our patrons from 1 to whatever dollar amount you pledge, you still get the podcast. But what we're going to do is we're going to change it up just a little bit. For $5 patrons and above, me and Gemma are going to allow everyone to vote. And basically, for all $5 patrons and above, if you are a $5 patron of mine or Gemma's channel, you get to vote in a poll, and you get to pick the bonus podcast content each and every week that we are going to have. Also, me and Gemma thought that it would be cool if some of these $5 patrons would like to come on the podcast. So Gemma, maybe having 1 or 2 people on the bonus podcast come voice their opinions. We know we've had some more recent people, Gemma, J.R. Rowley, and Carol Brown, and others come on the podcast, but coming on the bonus podcast and honor our patrons in that way. Because me and Gemma together, we have almost 400 patrons or close to that. And we will want to make sure that we're giving you guys something that's unique and fun and rewarding and different. So we wanted to do that, announce that on this stream. I know it's kind of stopping the stream for a second to talk about that, but we wanted to make sure that, you guys had something fun to look forward to. Now, usually we would do it right after our Thursday or Friday podcast, but we're going to do it another time during the week. So you have a podcast and then a special bonus podcast a couple of days later. Anyways, Gemma's laughing the whole time while I was trying to make a serious announcement.
I'm laughing at the chat. Apparently my hair needs its own YouTube channels. And Indeed Geek is in the chat as well. Hi, Robert.
The most handsome man on YouTube.
Yep, absolutely.
I guess David's trying to speak up and saying he's the most handsome. But Gemma, shall we open it up to the chat for some questions, since we got people from Indeed Geek's channel and in our channel?
Go for it. So I do have another question. I'm not going to be able to find it now because you messaged me and it's miles away again. Here you go. I've got it. It's where is it? Okay.
Gemma, they're requesting you to go back to purple.
They actually want her to go back to purple. Are they kidding?
I posted a picture of me using my old camera on Facebook, so there is a purple picture of me. That sounds like a Purple People Eater song, doesn't it? There's a picture of me on Facebook that's purple. If you want to reminisce and get all nostalgic. Shira C Star, one of my patrons, has asked, "What great houses do you foresee surviving the long night to come?"
Jon Snow, we'll pass this one to you, buddy.
What great houses? I don't see the Lannister house coming out of it.
So
unless Tyrion somehow escapes.
So you think there'll be like one person from House Lannister?
There must always be a Stark in Winterfell, so that's going to happen. There has to be one of the Starks. I don't think House Greyjoy will come out of it. They're great warriors, but who else do we have? House Martell doesn't even exist anymore.
Well, in the show, anyways.
Whoa! Yeah. You wash your mouth out.
Don't. Some people in chat are gonna get triggered.
Book show. Carry on.
You said Starks.
Yeah, Starks. And I would maybe vote for. I don't know if Tyrion is gonna survive. I just don't. He's my favorite character, so
Well, I'm going to springboard off of you for the moment, Zach. Maybe we can help each other. So I agree. I think the Starks will make it through, at least one. I mean, they have so many at least left of them that I think they stand the greatest chance of making it through. Granted, who knows? But I think we all sort of know that there's going to at least be one left. And that doesn't necessarily mean Jon either, but it just means that, I think if I was even to pick out of the two between Arya and Sansa, I actually think Arya is going to live and Sansa will die. I think
she's dangerous as hell, man.
Yeah, I think Arya, she'll end up being the lady that she always claimed, like, that's not me. Like, she'll end up doing that. And then she'll train she'll end up having a daughter that she ends up giving her fighting lessons to do what she always wanted.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a big she'll be like a big vigilante in Westeros even after the long night of just righting all of the wrongs under somebody else's face. I think that's just going to be a really
This might sound retarded, I don't know, but does it sound
Arya of House Baratheon? I see that too. That'd be fun.
Oh, I don't. I think that's absolute rubbish. That's Gemma.
But what about this?
That needs to happen.
You thought about, is it possible?
Ew.
Well, guys, is it possible for Arya to remove the face of a White Walker?
No, I don't think.
No. Not even if she uses.
I mean, they could like detect her. They have like this this green seer type of like psychic connection to the Night King, the Night King would just detect that. I mean, would he not?
Well, I don't.
Well, we don't officially know, to be fair, any of that.
Wouldn't it be cold?
We don't know, do we?
Listen, here's what's gonna happen, you guys. Spoiler alert. Everybody, if you don't want spoilers, get the fuck out. But Arya's gonna come, and a dragon's gonna land, and Cersei's gonna go, fuck that dragon. And the dragon's gonna reach up. Wait, he's gonna reach up with its claw, and the dragon's gonna go, I'm actually Arya Stark. And listen, those claws were made of pure dragon glass.
Stream's over, everyone. I don't think anything can top that.
I had a totally serious answer to that, and I'm never going to be able to follow that now, am I?
Gemma, your answer. We're ready for it.
Berries.
All of them. All of the great houses will survive, but they'll probably only have one member left of each one.
Yeah, that means they all have to intermarry.
Yeah, because this is a story about generations, isn't it? This is how all of this crap has been passed on for the children to deal with, essentially. House Targaryen will live on through Dany, and then by her child, House Stark will live on with Sansa and Arya, and probably Bran, even though he's a tree. And House Greyjoy will be Theon, and so on and so forth. House Baratheon will be either Edric Storm or Gendry. So, this...
Gendry and Arya.
No, because, ew.
Oh
because,
my God.
No, because, what show watchers don't appreciate with Gendry and Arya is that, the age difference is just, ugh. No. Because
why does everybody want everyone to hook up? Everybody wants me and Gemma to hook up. Everybody wants Sansa and Sandor to hook up. Like Sandor is like a big brother. He's like 6'7", and Sansa's like a 14-year-old girl.
He's all trying to when he's trying to irk Arya and be like, I should have taken your sister and fucked her bloody. Like everyone's like, oh yeah, that'd be hot. Like what the fuck?
Wow, panel.
Yeah, not cool. We're only cool with him hooking up with his aunt here.
Right?
Fucking leads. So, you know what? I bet there's going to be some stupid surprise house. It's going to be like, who survived the long night? The Manderleys!
Yeah. Well, they are badass. Wyman Manderley's going to outlive them all.
They hid behind a big rock. And they just
I think if Wyman Manderley hid behind a big rock, they'd still see him.
It's Bear Island.
I think Mace Tyrell is going to survive the long night. I know he already blew up. Wouldn't that be hilarious if he was just like...
on the Iron Throne.
Your Grace.
Mace Tyrell on the Iron Throne.
Your face, David, is I can't even... would he even fit on the Iron Throne? Because in the books, his horse is hurting. You can't even sit a horse.
That's Wyman Manderley, isn't it? We're talking about Mace Tyrell now.
I know, but Mace Tyrell is kind of like the same.
He's a big guy. Yeah, he's a big guy too. Yeah.
I mean, at least in the show, I don't know. I mean,
you know what
and I mean, his singing is next level. He's a really good singer.
I think House Mormont. I think they've set it up to where Lyanna Mormont. She's definitely going to carry that house. I don't see them killing the 12-year-old leader. They're just going, listen, Lord Glover, I'm a big girl, but I'm pretty fucking tough when I want to be.
Right?
He's got Ned Stark's blood that runs through his veins.
That is the most unattractive face I've seen you make so far. Wow.
Blood is me. That's exactly how she sounds, though, and don't you question it. So,
John Haymaker says, fuck Wyman Manderley. He refused the call. Watch this space. The North remembers, John. Have faith.
This panel is devolving into chaos.
This is her.
Well, that's because you have got no control, Kyle. You need to step up and man up and sort us out,
So boot everyone off the panel, essentially. Okay.
This is her face when she goes, you refuse the call.
Do you think she's going to do something like that in season 8, though? I mean, she's a pretty popular character, and they said she's going to have a bigger role in season
Sorry, who's that to?
Everyone.
Oh,
Is anyone listening?
Not really, no.
Wow.
I wasn't trying to offend you. I looked at my phone to see what the chat said.
Yeah, Robar Baratheon says, John Haymaker, careful, good sir. They have not forgotten their oath. I am with you, Robar. The North remembers. Laura D, Gemma, mic drop. I hope you didn't tune in for something professional today, guys, because...
That's definitely not happening anytime soon, apparently. At least today.
Azor Ahype has a black eye from getting kicked off just Secrets of the Citadel's live stream the other day.
Right here, you can see it.
So you're pregnant and you have a black eye.
Sounds like my Friday.
Wow. Helen Ledwith says, "Where is Eddard Dane in the story at the point?" You mean, I think she means someone else, right? She means
Edric Dane, yeah.
Yeah.
He's with the Brotherhood Without Banners, right? Last time we saw him.
Is he?
Kyle, you've been banished to the wall.
Who are people saying this in the chat?
You kind of look like a White Walker right now.
Linda R. just said you're banished to the wall.
I am.
No,
he's
not. Yeah, Robar's right. He was. Of course, he was Beric Squire, but he's not anymore. No, because Arius meets up with him, doesn't? Yeah. I don't think. I don't know. A discussion about House Dane is a podcast all in its own right, isn't it? I mean, that's huge.
Gemma had her thinking face. Oh, you guys are so there's so many different things going on in the
Gemma's
chat.
thinking face is so cute.
I try to keep up with you guys in the chat, and this is a literal disaster. It's like you guys are just all over the place, and it's hilarious. I don't even know what to say anymore at this point. I kind of just want Gemma to take over the podcast, and
I'll just read out all the really complimentary comments about me and my hair if you let me do that.
Kelly Lossman has a question. Probably, oh, that's not a question. That's a comment. Yeah, okay, never mind. Do we have more questions, everyone?
Yeah, well, I could even think of something.
Oh, don't even start with the Sheratal Mascadan. I will unmod you in a second. Sheridan and Ned Stark. That theory is the dumbest theory of all time.
I'll take away your little wrench.
But that's what because everybody knows the theories that we hate, don't they, Kyle? But what about Zach and David? What theories have you come across that you've just thought, oh, hell no?
There's a couple where I've heard people say like Beric Dondarrion's the prince that was promised, and I've seen some that they're like Hodor's gonna come back as a white.
It would be cool to see Hodor come back.
You probably will, but that's, damn it if that happens. But like Samwell Tarly ends up writing Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
That's
also going to happen.
Yeah, that of course. and Gilly is gonna become the new Mixer. No,
that's a new one. Not that one.
I hope Gilly dies in the first 5 minutes. I don't care about that character whatsoever. Like,
what?
You really want this character? You're like, man, what's gonna happen? Are the Whites gonna get Jon? And then it cuts to Gilly going, Sam, you need to learn these words on paper because I just learned.
What does annulment mean? What is an annulment? That's like her only important line after
Raga.
7 seasons.
Oh, by the way,
Raga.
Seriously, Dan and Dave, if you're watching this, what are you doing?
Because they will be.
Oh,
what are you doing
let's
right
just scrap that for a second.
Listen, the fact that you had Gilly discover that after she just learned how to read is an insult to everybody.
We have a donation from 9 nickels. Will Jaime be confronted when he goes to Winterfell, and how will Sansa react to Tyrion's plan to trust Cersei? Trust in Cersei? I don't think that he's. I mean, let's go with the Jaime part. Thank you very much for the donation, 9 nickels. Jaime going to Winterfell, Bran. We've kind of talked about this before, Gemma. I think that Bran's gonna be like, "Oh yeah, it was all you opened my third eye" type of deal. I'm the 3-eyed raven now because of you. I think it's going to be really awkward. That's my thought on it. But everybody else, they may not like that.
Thrones in the chat says, I hope that Jaime kills Gilly. I agree with you, a whole lot of Thrones.
Why?
Zach, what's your
That's not true, by the way. I just made that up. There's no person called that. I just wanted to say it again.
Oh
I think that Sansa she'll kind of accept that Jaime is there, but she still won't go anywhere near or trust anything that Cersei has to say. I think that the fact that Jaime is showing up in Winterfell will kind of even further his redemption arc towards Sansa and showing them that, hey, I'm willing to be here to fight for you for your cause. And I think that
because he's got to spill the beans that Cersei, I mean, is not going to send her troops, right? I mean, he's the one that's going to communicate that.
Yeah, I think that he's going to be the one to betray her, so then they have to like fight a 2-front war between the White Walkers and Cersei's forces. Which, that's going to be one hell of a battle.
This is a little bit apropos of nothing, but it's something that I've been wondering about. I know that in the books, I believe, is it Jorah Mormont who ends up getting an arm that's red that's like extremely strong? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Victarion Greyjoy.
Victarion Greyjoy. Okay. Now let me ask you: are they going to try to do anything with Jaime where they end up making his hand out of like dragon glass, like forging a dragon glass hand for him to put on? So
he could just go around bitch slapping the White Walkers, and he could kill them all, couldn't he?
Yeah,
oh my god! I just got an image in my head, Gemma, just saying that. That's just unreal.
Valyrian fist.
Yeah.
So he's going to be fisting the White Walkers.
I've heard
I did always wonder why they didn't like find some kind of sword attachment for his hand, because Syrio Forel says, you know, your hand is your sword and all of that crap, and then like Jaime's he's trying to learn with his left, but why could they just not like get like some attachments? I mean, he could have a selection of attachments. He could have something for the barbecue. He could have his sword.
So they said Jaime Lannister will be the new Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
They knock it off, and he just goes, "That was my favorite selection." But then he like pops a different one on. He's like, "I'm hit you with the fist one."
Yeah.
That'd be pretty neat. It'd be cool if he made he gave him like an infinity gauntlet where it just had some dragon glass gems on it.
I think I've seen a few memes like that. Thomas Gadan, really?
Yeah. Yeah, I love how people are saying that. But do you think that's a theory I've heard people mention where they go, they're going to find some way to get Jaime his hand back at like a crucial moment?
I've heard people say that Jaime is Azor Ahai and he's going to have like a fiery hand back.
That would be cool.
And that's how Cersei's going to have that ashes in her mouth, because Jaime is literally going to like
putting his fingers in her mouth and it turns into a fire hand.
Yeah, ash. I don't know. I think that's kind of ridiculous if you ask me.
Yeah, that seems a little. I don't know how you would incorporate a fiery hand all of a sudden. I know that with Qyburn around, or people like Qyburn or the Red Priestess who can use glamours and stuff, is if there's going to be some kind of spell or magic thing where they can get him a hand back. Like, I don't know, but I'm curious to see. I want to see him fight one last time. I know everybody wants to see that. Everybody wants to see the Kingslayer return to sort of his former glory, but on the hero side instead of the villain side. I think a lot of people want to see that.
Yeah, redemption arc. That's what we're after, isn't it?
Yeah.
Are we all in agreement on that pretty much?
King McKay's got a question, Kyle.
Yeah, a good one. Yeah, I'll read it. All right. I thought you were going to read it because you have a more appreciative voice, seems in the chat. All right, I'll read it. King McKay, I was annoyed when the random leap in logic where they knew the White Walkers died to dragonglass, so they assumed the Whites did as well. What are your thoughts on that? Yeah, the Whites, I mean, in the books that we know they die by fire, at least. And then now it's the dragonglass, and I'm kind of like, about it. And that's how I feel about it, Gemma.
Well, somebody just mentioned it was the robot. Was who Baratheon?
Robot. I thought I said robot Baratheon,
yeah.
and I was like, just gotta die.
He used his hand to push Bran out the window, so he paid for it, which is kind of interesting. I didn't actually think about it.
That's Ragnarok.
And yeah, we talked about Tyr, the god of war, actually has a burning red blade in his fist. He's like literally carrying a fiery sword.
But he gets his hand bitten off by Fenrir the wolf, doesn't he? And so the symbolism of pushing Bran and then losing that same hand. And also the hand that Jaime lost was the hand that was holding on to Cersei when they were born. So there's that metaphorical severing of their connection with the loss of Jaime's hand as well. There's a lot going on with that.
And Fenrir is chained to the earth, symbolizing Bran's paralyzation, not being able to walk. And then once he's freed from his chains, he shakes the world and basically causes like great disaster. So that could kind of maybe symbolize Bran passing through the wall, him essentially going back to Westeros, returning from the cave, having all these powers in the wall, part of the magic of the wall being nullified, and the Night King being able to, at least in the show, pass through it with Viserion.
Well, sure, and they also show that. I mean, that's what everybody was talking about during the show. That when he went into his warging visions with the three-eyed raven, when they were in the cave, and the Night King touched him, that sort of left a magical almost key. You know what I mean? Like he was a key that then made it able for them to come through. You know what I mean? As long as he was through, then they could come through. If he stayed on the other side of the wall, then they couldn't come on the other side of the wall. That's what some people were saying. But mostly, I think it was almost like, sort of like how you biochip a dog. Like I think that was.
Oh my god! This is awesome.
He's like, yep, I know where you're at. And he pulls out his little beeper and he looks at it. Yep. Don't worry, he's not lost, you guys. He's up the block at the neighbor's house.
If you've seen Harry Potter, I've said this a couple times, the Voldemort Harry Potter connection, where Harry Potter is essentially a Horcrux for Voldemort. Yeah. I mean, they have a psychic connection. Like, I mean, it has
spoilers. Gemma hasn't seen it.
And by the way, everyone shame Gemma in the chat for this. But wait.
I'm not into children's fiction.
Shame.
Lord Jon Snow, you've seen Lord of the Rings, right?
Yes.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. Someone that I know looks like you hasn't seen Lord of the Rings.
I am so iffy on it though. Like
Get out!
No. The first time I watched the series was I was working 8-hour shifts, and I would get off at 10, and I started the movies at 10:30 p.m. and I'd have to stay up until 2 to watch them, and I was like dying. But yeah, I know who the characters are and shit.
Can you see this? It's the world's smallest violin playing the world's saddest song.
Yeah, that's
for you.
That's fine.
Now the rains.
You're not going to see this anywhere else, by the way, everyone. This is, if you're enjoying this, please subscribe to the channel. Help us out. Help us avoid disaster and keep this channel going. We got about 10 minutes left in the podcast here. We're going to make it a little bit longer today. Me and Gemma have decided that our podcasts are not just going to be an hour. We're going to extend them 75, 80
minutes. I love
this.
Me and Gemma have decided. You mean you told me? And I said, yeah, sure, whatever.
What are you going to do about it?
Well, after last week, she's had to make some concessions.
You deserve to be booted. Anybody that tells me I like beef, I do like beef. I like it so much that I won't kill the animals that it's made from.
This is true. This is true.
I'm gonna go eat some beef and just make Gemma watch it.
So, anyways, Canadian sarcasm is always comedy gold. Thank you, George Turner. You're closer and closer to becoming a mod on the channel.
Tamaska Dan, what are you saying right now? Why would you say that?
What is I don't even.
Jensen, who's a patron of the channel, losing a hand or arm and having it replaced with a silver or golden mechanical replacement is a common theme and myth. You are absolutely right, Jensen. Gemma's hair is looking amazing, 9 nickels. What about my hair? Why am I not getting any?
Your neon beanie.
Oh God.
Take your neon beanie off. Let everybody see that hair.
John Haymaker, stop it. Really? Wow.
My hair is actually all over the place today.
Apparently, Dolphin is really good for you, Gemma.
Putting a regular hat on there so people don't make fun of me.
Stop triggering the vegan people. Just leave me alone.
Is there vegans in A Song of Ice and Fire, you think?
I don't think
Died
so.
a long time ago.
Not that I've come across any.
The Thens are definitely not vegans. We know that.
I'm gonna eat your mama and your papa.
That was a cringe scene too. I didn't like that very much.
Honestly, well, that actor honestly just pissed me off because I'm like, that almost made the show jump the shark for me, and I'm glad it didn't last for very long. But when that guy with the Thin with the scars, like the main Thin, I don't know his fucking name. Who cares? When he was just like, I'm gonna eat your mama and your papa. Yeah. And I'm like, shut the fuck up, dude. Like, this is...
by the way, there's someone on Twitter called the Spirit of Ollie or the Ghost of Ollie, and he literally trolls people and messages them and says he's like haunting them and stuff. He actually messaged me the other day and he's like, I hate you, I'm Ollie. Like, that's like basically...
My favorite Twitter account right now is one called Ice Spiders as Big as Hounds, and they just come in and troll everybody all the time with constant ice spider and snowflake emojis, and it's hilarious. You won't hear from this account for about a week, and then they'll just come in and say, we're going to kill you all. It's just so random. If you're not following, it's brilliant. If you're not following Ice Spiders as Big as Hounds on Twitter, what are you doing with your life right now? You need to follow these guys. I'd love to know who it was.
You know, it's funny. Like, sometimes we'll have in the chat, we'll have like Jon Snow Targaryen. We'll have like other like
George R. Martin kept popping in at one point. Can you remember that?
Remember at Con of Thrones, the guy that was dressed up as George R. Martin? He's like, I've stopped writing Winds of Winter. The books aren't coming out anymore. Actually, go check out the vlog. He was really funny.
I love that. Just hearing that somebody was doing that. That's pretty great.
But he was funny, and I'm like, what's next for you, George? He's like, yeah, I think I'm just gonna chill out in New Mexico.
By the way, I can't do it right now, but I can do a George R. R. Martin impression, and I wanted to make a video that I did kind of a clickbaity title on it, and I was just like, George R. R. Martin discusses the plot of Winds of Winter, and just make up shit, but I would do it like I did when I did a fake one where I interviewed Rick Grimes.
Yeah. I mean, by the way, it's called The Walking David. The links to his channel are in the description of this video, everyone.
It was really short, and all it was me just talking normally going, oh my God, Andrew, you're so great at playing Rick Grimes. How did you come up with that amazing voice? And then I just did the impression and as a response. But I thought about doing that for Winds of Winter and being like, like Cersei. She gets with Tyrion.
Oh, that is good. That is so good.
And by the way, everyone, he does have videos on his channel. Sparked Darien the Hound, a great little finger eating or talking about donuts.
Littlefinger,
and also
Littlefinger's on point.
Yeah, the Littlefinger prank call calls the pizza place. Really funny. You should do more of those. But David does amazing content on his channel. You can go subscribe to his channel. All the links to his Twitter and all that are in the description of the video. Also, you can go follow Con Snow on Instagram @ConSnow, on Facebook @ConSnow. Zach, are you on Twitter? All your stuff is in the description as well. Can you tell everyone to find you?
Con.snow Instagram, con.snow.cosplay Facebook.
And
no Twitter. I haven't done Twitter yet.
You know what? It's honestly not. You're missing out on a lot of salt and hate on there.
A lot of drama and politics. Do not bother.
Yeah.
No. It's funny that I care more about the politics in Westeros than I do in my own country.
And history.
Yeah, that's the sadder part. Is I'm way more knowledgeable about that. Like people are like, "Could you believe what Trump said?" I'm like, "No, hold on a second. Can you believe that Dorne is rebelling against?"
Exactly.
Not only that, they gave him guest right and they killed them at their own wedding. I mean, like, how fucked is that?
I know.
Everyone's been getting that whole thing about it. Did you hear about Trump reinstating Ligma? And then it's just that whole thing.
Oh yeah, there's tons of memes everywhere. It's really bad.
It's really bad.
I mean, when meme culture becomes, I
got Gemma the other day. She's laughing.
We're not even going to discuss all of that on stream because then we get into a whole different type of discussion, and then it's just complete demonetization and all of that, which is like already going to happen. So. Final thoughts this evening.
Nexus One wants to know who is the most cosplayed character at Con of Thrones.
Melisandre.
No.
I would say Melisandre.
I would say Daenerys is pretty high up there.
That's what I was saying, like Khaleesi. Yeah. I didn't mean to say Khaleesi. I meant to say Daenerys.
I think Daenerys might be the highest, and for guys, I don't know. It's like there's a lot. There was a lot of Jon Snow.
I think a lot of people dress up as Men of the Night's Watch just because it's easy to find a lot of black clothing.
Like you can find like an eBay costume or a costume at like your local like Halloween store or whatever, or order it online.
Coming out soon too.
He sounded so like
about
sad
that
about
time.
I
know it's like it's just beginning to be August and all of that shit is up.
But let's do one final run through here. Let's do one final run through before we go here. David, what are you most excited for? I mean, you haven't read the books yet, but you're excited about season 8. Obviously, still a ways away. What are you most excited for in season 8?
I really want to see what they do with the Hound and what they do with Jaime, and of course, obviously with Jon. The only reason I'm not looking as much towards Jon is just because I'm not as big of a fan of the Jon and Dany relationship just yet. You know what I mean? Like that's not where a lot of my interests lie. I really like a lot of the anti-heroes of the show and of the story, and because they're like that moment, just a little moment with the Hound talking to Brienne of Tarth, just going like, talking about Arya. Like I liked little stuff like that, as opposed to this whole like, watch Jon enter from the right side of the frame as Dany enters from the left side of the frame. Whoa! And like, everybody was just like, can't fucking believe it. And I'm just like, well, you guys have been spoiling it for the last year and a half. I'm surprised that you're surprised. Like, didn't you already? Aren't you guys book readers? Didn't you see this shit coming a mile away? Like, yeah, so I'm more excited about seeing what happens with some of the anti-heroes who we've been seeing their character arcs develop, like really develop over the last, 3 or 4 seasons. So the Hound and Jaime Lannister, those are my main focuses because I just love those actors and those characters.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Jack.
I would love to see. I'm just so hyped for Clegane Bowl. I don't care how it happens, but dude, Clegane Bowl all day. I've been waiting 7 seasons for that.
I think we all have. I mean, they definitely set it up. It's definitely happening, right?
Yeah.
So final thoughts. We're all happy. We're all excited for Clegane Bowl. We'll end it. We'll kind of end it there. What we're going to do is we're going to do like kind of like a little shout out thing to end here. David, where can everyone find you and what's up next for you, man?
Well, you can find me obviously on my YouTube channel that's in the description below, The Walking David. If you like Instagram over Twitter, so do I. And I'm at, it's all lowercase, Mr. David Grayson. There's no period, so it's just all one thing. I don't use Twitter as much, so Instagram is better. So at Mr. David Grayson. As far as what I'm doing, I'm going to be working on a lot of, like I have a 48-hour film project I'm doing this weekend and a couple of one-day shoots on some other projects. But in terms of my channel, I'm hoping to do maybe like a Walking Dead fan series of sorts. It won't technically be The Walking Dead, but it's going to have a lot of a similar vibe, kind of a coming-of-age story in the apocalypse, and I've just started writing it. So yeah.
By the way, he does an amazing, if you like The Walking Dead, Rick Grimes. Like, dresses up as him, has the gun. Kind of like how Jon Snow does Jon Snow, but, like, really, really good.
Yeah, I wish I looked as much like Rick Grimes as you do like Jon Snow. It's especially right now as you're looking at me.
Oh, you're beautiful, too. Don't worry about it.
Oh.
Don't be cheating on me, Jon Snow. But David, thank you for joining us this evening.
Yeah, appreciate it, guys. Thanks for having me.
Jon Snow.
Just the simple Instagram at con.snow, Facebook at con.snow.cosplay, which is still in the works. We got to tinker with it and get everything built.
Every time I can't even look at Zach without laughing right now. But that's Jon Snow, everyone. We actually have been talking about doing a follow-up to the Boatsex video. Maybe we'll have an update for you.
Yeah, we'll do naked spin around scenes. You know, no.
Well, we're actually thinking about doing a video series, like a 4-part series at the next Con of Thrones, where like we've had 2 children, like twins together, and it's like, clean up the kitchen, John. The castle is a mess. Like that type of kind of like sitcom-y type of deal. Gemma.
Hi.
That's Gemma, everyone. You can find all her stuff in the description.
I assume all the links are down below because Kyle is far more on it than I am. It's been a pleasure as always. It's 1:30 in the morning, so I'm starting to zone out a little bit now.
But thanks for joining us, everyone. If you do want to support the channel, you can check out Patreon for me and Gemma in the description of this video. Like I said, we're doing some new stuff for $5 patrons for the podcast. I do have the GoFundMe for Worldcon and DragonCon. If you do want to help support us keep continuing to go to conventions, getting interviews, doing all sorts of amazing con coverage, you can find that in the description of this video. Thanks for joining us, everyone, and I think we're going to end with a David Grayson impression. I'm going to let him surprise us for this one.
All right.
I'll just do it. I don't care.
Well, how about this? I'll do an impression that each one of you each pick a different one, okay?
No, well, we're going to do one. We're going to do one. I want you to do one.
Yeah. Okay. Well, then just you tell me, because give me some options, and I'll pick one of them.
Do Sand or Clegane.
Sand or Clegane?
Yeah.
All right. I'll try here. You're a talker. Talkers make me thirsty. Bring me one of them chickens. I was just like...
Hype and love, everyone!
Bye.